Welcome to another episode of the Presale Pulse Live, a channel that is dedicated to helping you understand everything happening in real estate across Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. And today we have a fantastic episode to wrap up that final month of summer. The Olympics are just coming to a close and we have a heat wave that's kind of on the horizon. But of course, real estate just continuing to charge ahead. That's something that we're really excited about because very much in line with the predictions that Brittany is making month over month. I'm Ryan Lalonde of MLA Canada.
And I'm Brittany Reimer, Managing Director of MLA Fraser Valley.
And before we jump into everything Fraser Valley, how about Tokyo 2020? I know that has a soft spot in your heart. What were you thinking?
It's fun. I felt like we should have mentioned this last episode, but I am definitely biased. The Canadian swimming was a highlight for me. Maggie McNeil winning gold in the 100-meter butterfly, the women's relays, gold medal for women's soccer, bronze medal for softball. Lots of vets in that group. I was trying to think back to whether or not these ladies and some of these people were there when I was still swimming in 2004. But I mean, that list goes on and we watched every night, 6:30 on the dot.
Oh, I love how the ladies dominated too.
They dominated.
I remember getting up first thing in the morning with my daughter, she's 7 years old, Brooklyn, and I watching women win gold in soccer. Grosso just stuffing that in the back of the net. Just such an incredible moment. And also like really paving the way for what it looks like for really strong women in sport in Canada long term.
Absolutely. I mean, thinking about just that alone, Sinclair, I mean, she's been in the sport since 2008. And yeah, it's incredible to see these ladies just forging forward and still active in the sport. So very inspiring.
If you're new to the channel, we're typically not talking sports. We're talking Presale Pulse, and it's about recapping both the presale and the resale marketplace over the past 30 days. Our goal is to ensure that all of our subscribers feel like they have their fingers on the pulse and becoming real estate intelligent. Now, Brittany, it's August. It's been one heck of a ride so far this year. Tell our viewers what's happening right now in the Fraser Valley in the real estate marketplace.
We've had a ton of amazing feedback on the pulse over the last 60 days. So thank you to our viewers. We want more of this. Let us know what you want to continue to hear about. But to answer your question, Ryan, we have another loaded episode ahead. Last month faced seasonal shifts in July. Inventory remained at record lows and demand is still above historical averages. We're going to talk about that. We'll of course hit pre-sale projects and what's selling, what's upcoming, and lastly we'll wrap it up with our usual suspect, resale stats. Let's just jump right into pre-sale. We're feeling like a broken record these days on Surrey stats, but it's trending, it's still hot, and people want to talk about it. So let's kick it off right with the Grand King George in Surrey. They began contract writing the last week of July, targeting approximately 900, so low 900s for price per square foot. We're rolling out some really big incentives, 20 to 25K a door, so we'll be really following closely to watch where this actual number nets out when sales wrap up. They're 95% sold of available inventory, so that's 315 sold of 33 released for a total of 355 homes. Highlights continued presale demand in Surrey. Projects like Q5 were not an outlier. Presale absorption in Surrey are still some of the highest in the Lower Mainland, and I think that this project really just speaks to the fact that there wasn't an outlier there.
Next up, Helvo by the Landcraft Group. Now, like the Grand, Helvo started sales in late July. The development is now 60% sold out. Now, this is a boutique offering. 31 of 52 homes have been sold, and as you'd expect, a collection of 1 and 2 bedroom plus flex homes. They're calling these executive condos. Near the waterfront in White Rock, though, prices starting at $409,000. Really strong value. It's no wonder why they've had that type of sales success. And we know that that's a really limited supply marketplace. And so our expectation is that they're going to continue to tempo out. And the final back of this program is probably going to move relatively quickly.
All right, next up, Hendricks by Sync Properties, 86-unit wood frame development. This project is just on the corner of 138th and 108th Avenue near Gateway Station. They're expected to launch in late August. Just started the previews and we'll be watching very closely to see if this Surrey trend continued.
I think we also have to talk a little bit about Park Central by the Lark Group and Dava Developments. We know Dava so well from the Cambie Street corridor. A lot of expertise in multiple markets. They've held an online realtor preview July 15th. Urban 1 and 2 beds on their offering. Dava, several upcoming condo projects throughout the Fraser Valley. This is an exciting one to watch. They're going to kick off into that marketplace. We're going to be following up very, very closely to understand how they're performing.
Now we're going to jump into Quinn by Port Homes in Surrey. We're still talking about Surrey, which is amazing, and we love that. I personally love this project. Wood frame, Surrey, you really can't go wrong for that investor. Starting in the high 300s with an emphasis on 1 and 2 bedroom homes, also including a handful of townhomes as well, which is very limited supply and inventory in that location. Early first 50 buyer incentive happening with a 15% deposit deposit instead of 20. They're doing a $2,000 assignment fee rather than 2%, and offering bike storage locker included rather than the typical $2,500 charge for that upgrade. And of course, this project is right beside QE Meadows Park. So let's jump into the resale stats here. Month over month, sales and listings dropped 10.7% and 10.5% respectively. It should be noted that the decline in sales is proportional to the decline in inventory in the market. As headlines have shown, July saw its third highest sales in the Fraser Valley in the last 10 years, with inventory decreased to levels not seen since the 1980s. Dare I say another record? Well, it was, so we can't deny that. Days on market have increased month over month, but remain low, highlighting the continued inventory turnover occurring in this market.
That's very similar to what we saw in the Greater Vancouver marketplace as well, though, right? For the most part, inventory and sales rolling back 12%. We're still at some highs. Fraser Valley's highs are much bigger than Vancouver's highs when you look over a 10-year period. But the point being is that we have still very low supply, very high sales to listing ratios, which we're going to touch on. And our expectation is prices are just going to continue to jump up. Let's jump into the composite benchmark price. July, another huge month, 1,053,000. That's up 22.8% over the past year. That's 3.3% over the last 3 months. And those are really big gains in any market, although they seem smaller today than they have been in the past. Now, while sales and listings have decreased consecutively month over month, prices are still remaining steady, hovering kind of around that $500 per square foot base. Developers, they're continuing to answer the call for greater supply in Fraser Valley by releasing their condos a little bit earlier than anticipated. August expected to be a bigger month for releases, but we really know that there's going to be a strong fall. We expect these developments to get absorbed really well, especially in submarkets such as Surrey and the township of Langley, where there's just still so much pent-up demand. We have record low resales listings, and as a result of that, record low resale sales, and as a result of that, we're seeing a lot of those home buyers shift their perspective, looking at pre-sales and alternative to secure housing.
All right, Ryan, well, let's chat about sales to listing ratios. In July, the overall sales to listing ratio was 41%, unchanged from June. By product type, the sales to listing ratio was 44% for single-family detached homes, 49% for condos, and 69% for townhomes. While detached homes saw a 2% increase, townhome decreased by 5%, and condos remained unchanged. Overall, this change canceled out each other when it came to looking at the overall sales to listing ratio.
And what we're really talking about is still an incredibly competitive marketplace when we think about how many home buyers are looking for homes that don't exist.
So submarkets within the Fraser Valley fare differently than others. While smaller submarkets such as Mission saw sales decrease by 19.7%, more active submarkets such as the Langley market only fell a modest 4.7%. And of course, that tells us that, of course, the market is very strong still and stable through the month of July.
It's really important to note that some of those smaller marketplaces, they just don't have the gross number of transactions month over month, and so one or two less transactions happening in that month have a huge swing in terms of the percentages. And so, not too dissimilar to the way that we think about Bowen, with only a handful of transactions that happen on any given month. You remove 2 or 3 of those transactions and it's a big swing in percentages, although that does not very indicative of demand. And so our expectation is that even though we might see some modest adjustments of that 4.7% threshold, our belief is that there's still incredible demand, and you will see price appreciation in all of those, regardless of where they land. As always, if you found some value in today's episode, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to our channel, Newswire. It's our daily email round of the latest real estate news. Subscribers get early access to Presale Pulse, market insights, and the latest projects breaking ground. So if you want early access, you want to be front of line, this is how you do it. Now, of course, MLA advisory teams, we're always happy and available. If you're looking for data in new marketplaces or secondary marketplace information, contact us by viewing the link below. And lastly, we want to hear from you. So leave a comment if you have any questions or you want us to speak about any trends or insights not mentioned in today's episode. We enjoy hearing the feedback. We want to make sure that we're building content for our subscribers.
And speaking of real estate intelligence, please stay tuned for MLA's advisory team's latest neighborhood spotlight on the Langley submarket. This report will offer insight into an up-and-coming marketplace for home buyers, developers, and real estate industry professionals alike.
We shot that in your office about a week ago. There's a ton of great content in there. It not only talks about where the Fraser Valley has been, but where we expect it to go, and some of the really interesting second marketings that are really blooming and that we expect to continue to do really well over the coming years. So make sure that you tune in, check out those links below. It's going to be a hot episode. I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.